Welcome back, all my tech mexers. And oh boy, today's I'm talking about Dune, not the one that's in theaters right now. The not the one that was on TV. The 1984 Dune by David Lynch. And let me tell you, baby, it is a movie. So let's get on into it, baby.
Oh, he's technically Mexican, 3/4 American, but for 3 generations he's got that nationality. Great-great-grandpa headed south, whose kids had kids then turned around. It's not what the show's about, but it's why he's Mexican technically.
He helps that he was raised in New Mexico, lived in Guadalajara for 2 years, speaks fluent Spanish with a bachelor's degree in language and examine taquito.
Dune. What a spectacle. What is my history with Dune? I have yet to read the book. It's been on my TBR for quite some time, but I haven't gotten around to it because I'm dyslexic and it takes me forever. Also, high school kind of ruined books for me because I had to read some really gross books with some really gross stuff in it, and I stopped reading for a super long time until I hit college and I started reading again, and now I'm doing audiobooks and that's helping speed things up. I'm probably going to read Dune after I finish The Eye of the World from the Wheel of Time, but I don't know the book. So I'm not an expert on the source material, which makes it a little bit harder to critique the adaptations, because it's hard to tell if something that's in the movie is done poorly because it's a bad movie or because it's done badly in the book. However, a lot of people love the book, and I doubt that the problems I have with this film are present in the book. So I saw 1984 Dune a long time ago as a wee lad, and basically remember nothing from it other than the voice modulators. They're called the weirding devices. That's what they're called. Out of like the entire film, I remembered the sandworms, and I remembered that they had boxes on their necks and they could say cha and it made a boom boom. So not knowing anything about the story or remembering much about the movie, we decided to give it a little rewatchy before the movie comes out. We're going to talk about both films. As of recording this, you can watch the movie now in theaters and on the HBOs. I'm going to be seeing the new adaptation tomorrow in theaters because I want to support it, and I want them to make the rest of the movie, the next parts of the movie, and also the other books, because I'm a big fan of the sci-fis. So I want to support this in theaters, and I gotta say, it's been real tough to abstain because I have the HBOs and I could turn it on right now and watch it, but I want to experience it for the first time in theaters, and then I'll rewatch it on HBO. I'm very excited for the new adaptation. I think it looks fantastic. But first offs, we gotta talk about the adaptation that already exists. As far as other adaptations go, I have not seen the sci-fi miniseries, but I have seen the sequel miniseries. Sci-Fi did Children of Dune, and I watched that when I was like 10 with my dad, and the only thing I remember about that one is there were 2 kids, there was a boy and a girl, and the boy learned to run really fast, and that was like the last shot of the TV show. The girl was watching her brother run real fast in the desert. I don't remember what any of that was about, okay? So, I'm a naive boy. I don't know the source material, but I think that as a student of the arts, I can still critique this movie because, oh boy, it's a movie. Let's talk about the good. 1984 Dune, David Lynch. David Lynch has artistic flair. David Lynch is pretty good with visuals. He often gets off in the weeds on his visuals, and I don't think anyone can refute that. But the movie does have some really good looking scenes. The set design, it's as far as an 80s film goes, the set design is pretty good, and some of the visual effects are not bad. They obviously do not age well, but they have that 80s charm to them. So there is a lot in this film to like visually. The other pluses that it has: it's a sci-fi movie, and because I like the genre, I'm automatically willing to forgive a lot of things just because I like space future stuffs. So it's got that going for it. A lot of the costumes are really dope too. You can very easily distinguish between the different parties and houses involved because the costumes are really well designed. Like, you can see, oh, this is from the House Atreides, this guy's from the House Harkonnen, and these are like the Emperor's dudes, because they all visually good. That's the best thing this movie has going for it. Anything else that I enjoyed? I think it has some very interesting and intriguing concepts, most of which I assume come from the book. So it is a pensive story and makes you think about stuff. But it's a shame because the movie as a whole really is not good. There are so many problems with it. So let's talk generalities, and then I'll show you the specifics. I think the movie's biggest problem is in the direction, in that I don't know if David Lynch has ever had to adapt anything. How in books you often get to see inside of the characters' minds and hear their inner dialogue. That is a huge benefit that books have. They can literally tell you what a character is thinking, and then they can show you what they're saying and describe the actions and stuff. Translating that to film, however, is very difficult. It's a very nuanced art to be able to convert inner monologues into dialogue between two characters on film, and it can be very hard to adapt. And the way that this movie approaches that problem is by not addressing it at all, because it just tells you the character's inner thoughts. Literally, every other line from this film is spoken dialogue, inner thought. Spoken dialogue, inner thought. It goes back and forth constantly. It is so hard to track. My wife sat down and watched the movie with me, and because she kept looking down at her phone, she could not tell the difference between spoken dialogue and inner dialogue, and was constantly asking me questions. Here's an example of that.
Your suit is fitted desert fashion. Who told you how to do that?
No one. It seemed the proper way.
That it is.
He shall know your ways as if born to them.
We're wasting time, sire.
Here's another example.
You knew the spice would change me. But thanks to your teachings, it's changing my consciousness. I see it. I can see it.
Is he the one?
You carry my unborn sister in your womb.
He knows.
Father!
Father, I promise one day the sleeper will awaken, and I will avenge your death. I will not stop until I destroy the Emperor and the Baron.
These are just two scenes from the movie, but I kid you not, this is what every scene in the movie is like, and it is quite literally every other line of dialogue, which And this leads right into the next problem with this film, and it's that because it takes this approach, the exposition is super heavy-handed. There's a common phrase used in filmmaking and in improv and comedy a lot, where and it's show don't tell, and that it's pretty self-explanatory. It means, if you're doing a scene, rather than saying, hey, we need to go to the doctor and we need to do this and then do this and then do this, instead of spending the time just saying it, you can just go ahead and do those things. You can show the characters going to the doctor and then doing the other things on the list. And that is a much more effective way of approaching filmmaking than it's show don't tell. Rather than saying, hey, this is a character and he is super awesome at doing the fightings. Instead of saying that, you can show the character being super awesome at doing the fightings. And it's a much more effective use of screen time. This movie, because of all the inner dialogue and just the way that the actual dialogue is structured, it's not following that rule. And it's almost like it's telling you at the same time it's showing you. Because it'll show stuff happening and tell you what's happening simultaneously through these characters' thoughts. And it just feels so clunky. On top of that, the dialogue between characters is just not written well. It feels wholly unnatural. And it's very, very off-putting. Structurally, this film has massive, massive problems. The first half of the movie is not bad structurally. I think it flows pretty well. And then from the halfway point, it basically shows you an entire war in a montage sequence and is constantly just jumping back and forth at a breakneck pace between random things, which I assume are cool moments from the book that just make no sense in context. Like, there were a lot of scenes where it's like, hey, this was a part of the book that we need to show, but it has zero context, and after it's over, you're like, well, why did we spend the time seeing that at all? It's not relevant to the story that you're showing me. So it's got that, and overall, the movie is just really, really weird. Despite all of my complaints about the film, I do enjoy the film. I think it has a charm that makes it worth watching. It's also one of those movies where it's so bad that it's good because it's funny. So if you're into that kind of stuff, like, this movie is super enjoyable, and it would be hilarious to watch with friends and just laugh your head off the entire time at some of the clunkiness that just comes out of nowhere. But yeah, again, the biggest qualities are the visuals. Let's go into some really weird specifics. I'm not going to break down the whole film for you, but this is how the movie starts. Oh, so weird. The movie starts with narration from this lady, who's the daughter of the Emperor of all of space, and she gives you some exposition, and you literally never see her again until the end of the movie, and she has no dialogue. She just stands behind her dad at the end of the movie. I know that there's an extended ending to the movie where she actually has a purpose. I don't want to spoil that ending, but it's just nonsensical. And for some reason, she keeps fading in and out. And you get this line.
Oh, yes. I forgot to tell you.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, as she comes back in, but she'd already been fading in and out. It just, I don't know what the choice is. Okay, I just don't understand. I don't understand the choices this film is making. But that scene leads into the opening credits, and okay, I forgot to mention the score flipping bangs. Just listen to this. It's like a brooding, epic march of it gets me. And guess what? It's friggin' made by Toto. Toto did the music. which is weird because Sting is in this movie. Sting didn't do the music. He did the acting. Toto did the music. It's good music, okay? You get a bunch of, like, at the start of the movie, you get a whole bunch of information dumps, and hardly any of that information is relevant to the story they end up actually telling. And half of that information is then retold in dialogue. Like, one of the first scenes is this one with this weird alien blob, and half of this is just like, it's half of this conversation is just recapping the exposition narration dump that we already got. Like, why are you doing that? Also, this scene basically spoils the entire movie. Rather than Dune is basically like Game of Thrones in space, or more accurately, Game of Thrones is Dune with dragons. It's a political espionage thriller, and there's a bunch of intricacies between the houses and warring, and the opening scene of the movie tells you exactly what's going to happen for the next hour of the film and completely spoils all of the betrayal. I don't get it. Like, you could have just had like a nuanced cryptic conversation here and then shocked us with the betrayals. What are you doing, movie? What are these choices you're making? I don't know. Also, you get a bunch of close-ups. There are so many close-ups in this movie, like this. You know what that looks like, don't you? You can't not know what that looks like, David Lynch. Why is it so close up? There's also this cool scene where you get like the shieldies for knife fights. It's clunky as heck, and also never comes up again. They don't ever use these. So what's the point of the training? You know, normally you do a training scene to set up something you're gonna use later. And why are you showing me these fancy shields if you're never gonna use them? I don't get it. Hoo boy. The bad guys are really cool. You got Sting, who's Sting. You've got Eyebrows guy, and you've got the Baron Harkonnen, Vladimir Harkonnen. This dude is disgusting, and I love it. I love how gross he is. Also, he flies, and also showers in oil, and he also likes to kill people. Why does everyone have... There's a line in this movie where they say that everyone all on the Harkonnen planet have heart plugs that apparently you can just pull out to kill them. But it's not explained why. That's an interesting, like, world building fact, but you don't tell us why. There's a bunch of stuff like this where you're like, oh, that's an interesting thing that you've established in this world. It would be great if you told me why. You got Sting. You get this scene with Eyebrows where he's doing like sign language or gestures while he's talking. Why? Is there a reason for it in the books? Please, if you've read the books, tell me. What is he do? What is Eyebrows doing with his hands? Does that mean something? Is that code? Or is that like a tradition? Like a, what is this? And just wrap it up with like the way this movie ends is bizarre. Cause you get this weird, super fast growing baby, who is like a magic witch, and she talks like this.
Poor Emperor. I'm afraid my brother won't be very pleased with you.
Silence! Kill this child. She's an abomination. Kill her.
Yes. Someone, please do.
Get out of my mind!
Not until you tell them both who I really am.
Alia.
And then, obviously, I'm spoiling the end of this movie. She does this. And then, for reasons I can't imagine, they have like an 8-year-old girl doing this? Which is like so weirdly sensual. It's so weird. And then, a fat guy gets a purple nurple and flies into a worm. It's a cool visual, but she's so weird. And then, like, the ending just is so bad. Also, for some reason, all of the action in this movie is just incomprehensible. It's cut to oblivion, and there's always sand and smoke obscuring everything, and it's always way too close, and they're constantly reusing the same shots and like close-ups of the people reacting to what's fighting. You know, like in those really, really bad old Western movies where the fight scenes were basically just made of shot, reverse shot. Pew 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 pew. 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 You see a lot of people shooting like that, and you see some people getting hit, and none of it tracks. You have no idea how the actual battle is going because it's incomprehensible. The plot of the movie is basically Paul Atreides, that the main character he's Space Jesus. He's the chosen one. He's the prophesied guy, and so this prophecy of Space Jesus is called the Quiznos haberdashery, and this is how the movie ends. He makes it rain because he's Jesus, and it never rains on Dune. And then the girl says, "What? You're surprised it's raining?" Because he is the Quiznos haberdashery. Boom, credits.
And how can this be? For he is the Kwisatz Haderach.
What? This is the end of the movie? Well, this movie is very confusing. It's very hard to follow. My wife came in like 20 minutes late and sat down and was doing... she was working on her laptop while watching. Naturally, she started asking a lot of questions. Why is this person doing that? And why did they say that? Why are they doing this? And she was asking all of these questions to me, naturally assuming that she missed something from the beginning of the film. And every single time she asked a question, I had to say, "Honey, I have no idea. You honestly have the same amount of information that I have." There are so many questions in this film, and nothing's explained. Even though it spends half the time explaining, it explains the wrong things. It tells you, the movie explains what is happening, and it never, ever explains why anything is happening, and it's so confusing. That being said, I like the movie. It's entertaining, and it is so bad that it's good. And this film it's special. Like, I don't know how it got made, and it's a beautiful thing. But most of all, I'm super excited that we have what looks like a good adaptation coming. I'm gonna see it tomorrow. I'm gonna do a video on it that's gonna come out on next Monday, talking about the new version, and I'm super excited, and I'm super happy that the fans who have been very, very patient are finally going to get something that looks awesome. So so everyone should go see Dune in theaters, even though you go watch it on HBO Max, and I could be watching it right now, but I've been abstinent, and I've promised myself I will not watch the movie until after I've seen it in theaters, because we need the next parts to be made. We need a good Dune adaptation. You guys have been patient enough, so go see it in theaters. My wife watched it. While I've been sitting here recording and editing this video, my wife watched Dune on HBO Max. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm awake because I have insomnia and terrible sleeping habits. And she's awake because she watched Dune. She said, and I quote, "I watched it just to spite you." And then I went up and talked to her, and she said, yeah, I was just going to watch the beginning to see what it looked like, and because you made me watch that horrible 80s version. And then she said it was so good she couldn't stop watching. So, that's good. That's good news. If my wife was interested in it, that means it's good. My wife is a normie, and she is very quick to lose interest in a book or a movie if she doesn't like it. So that's cool. She also said, I liked the part where they didn't talk in their heads. And then she also said the best part about the movie was how it wasn't terrible. So she's going to be holding that over me for a good 24 hours. And I'll see you guys next time when we talk more about the same thing. So go see it in theaters, like and subscribe my video, and we'll see you around, baby.